Hello everyone, it's Dale here, and in this video I'd like to show you how I use volume profile and the trading strategies I showed you in the webinar in swing trading. And I decided to demonstrate that on the swing trades we had with members of my profile course in previous month, which was April 2018. So let's get to it, and let's start with the US dollar Swiss franc. Before you can see a daily chart of the US dollar Swiss franc, and as you can see there was a pretty strong selling activity there. So I used the second trading setup, the trend setup. The first trade that I took was based on this volume cluster created in this sideways price action area. So I went short from there. There was a winning trade from this area, pretty nice winner there. And the second short was right there. It was also based on this significant volume cluster created within the trend. Unfortunately, as you can see, this ended up as a losing trade. There wasn't any reaction whatsoever. As you can see, the US dollar Swiss franc started strong uptrend without any pullbacks. So to wrap it up, there was one winning trade from this zone, from this volume cluster, one losing trade from this volume cluster. Both trades based on the setup number 2, the trend setup. Let's go into the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. There was a long trade from this area, right there. There was the reaction. This long level was based on this rejection of lower prices. As you can see, pretty heavy volumes were accumulated within the rejection. And the rejection started pretty strong buying activity right there. So this was definitely a sign of strong buyers adding to their buying positions there and finally pushing the price upwards. So I just waited for pullback, and when the price reached this level I went long from there. This was the rejection setup, the setup number 3 from the webinar. Let's go into the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. There was a very nice case of rejection of higher prices. This was the rejection, and as you can see, there were pretty massive volumes accumulated inside this rejection, meaning that strong sellers were adding aggressively to their selling positions there and rejecting higher prices and pushing the price lower. So the level was right there where the volumes were the heaviest, and I went short from there. So there was another profit from this trade, which was based on the rejection setup, the setup number 3 from the webinar. Let's go into the US dollar, Canadian dollar. There was a strong uptrend, strong buying activity, and because of that I wanted to trade the trend setup. So I used this significant volume cluster as a long level, so I went long from there. Unfortunately, the price went past the level without any significant reaction, so in this case there was a losing trade. Ultimately, the price reacted to those heavy volumes created inside this area, so there was a pretty nice reaction to a volume area, but I didn't have a level there, so I didn't take this opportunity, and the only level I took there was this losing trade based on the setup number 2, the trend setup. Let's go into the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. There was a volume accumulation setup. You can see pretty massive volumes accumulated in this area. This volume area started right there with those heavy volumes. So I wanted to go short from there. Unfortunately, the price turned 1 pip sooner before reaching the level. The reaction was pretty nice, but I wasn't able to jump in the trade. So I had to discard the level. I won't be taking it in the future because the level is already tested, but it was a very nice case of the setup number 1, of the volume accumulation setup. Let's go into the Australian dollar, Swiss franc. There were 2 trades in April. The first one was based on the rejection setup, on the third setup. This was the rejection of higher prices with the heaviest volumes accumulated right there in this area. So I waited for pullback, and when the price returned, I went short from there. Very nice reaction to this level, to those volumes. So this was the first level. And the second one was based on a trend setup. You can see that there was a pretty strong downtrend, and within this downtrend there was this significant volume cluster. So I draw a line from there and I waited for a pullback, and when the price returned there, I went short. Also, very nice reaction to this volume cluster. So there were two winners on the Australian dollar Swiss franc. First one based on the rejection setup, the second one based on the trend setup. Alright guys, so that's it. I hope that you can see now that you can use the same setups and the same settings for the volume profile when you trade the swing trades. Only the time frame changes, but the logic behind the volume profile is still the same, the setups are still the same. So it's pretty simple. You only need to learn those three setups and that's it. So I hope you liked the video, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. Happy trading!